Hi there, my name is Mike, and welcome to Cacti, Mountains, Flora, and Fauna. This is my home and garden video, and this is the first one that I've ever made, so please take it easy on me in the comments. This is Tucson, Arizona, Zone 9B, in the middle of the Sonoran Desert. The first thing we're looking at here in my west side yard are citrus trees. This first citrus tree is a Daisy Mandarin Orange. It is fully mature, been in the ground for 20 plus years. Needs to be trimmed or pruned about every other year. As we walk closer, I'm sure you're wondering what the white stuff is on the bark or chunk of the tree. This is a whitewash developed by a company in California called IV Organics. It comes in white, brown, and green. It helps with sunburn and sun scald. It also repels insects and bugs. They make a second product that is obviously clear that can be put on the branches and leaves as well. The fruit on this tree is sweet and juicy, but its only downfall is that it has lots of seeds. I'm going to keep walking in between the two citrus trees here. And the first thing you're going to notice is how messy the side of the yard is. We have a lot of fallen leaves. I want everybody to know that I'm a real person and this is a real garden and I take care of it. I want everybody to remember that gardening is a journey, not a destination. It's also a process. Once you plant a plant, another one can die. Once you clean an area, another one becomes messy. So it is constant work. A lot of people say that there's no landscaping in Arizona. I beg to differ. The next thing I want you to look at is the brown, ugly brick walls. When we first moved here, we had covered them in a star jasmine vine. But as these trees grew, they blocked out the sun and the vines died. But we still obviously enjoy these trees, not only for the fruit, but for the protection from the sun, and it blocks our neighbors next door. The second tree is a red blush grapefruit. It also has the IV Organics whitewash to protect the bark. This is a mature tree, again, been in the ground for over 20 years. It does produce a lot of fruit. As we keep going, you'll see we're coming out of the side yard and into the backyard. I want to show you some of the birds on the bird feeder. I was quickly mentioning about the star jasmine vine. This is the last one that survived. And the only reason why it survived is because it's more in the sun. And as you can see, it's growing towards the sun. I'll get you a nice close-up of these flowers. These are very popular plant or vine in Arizona. And they have incredible star-shaped flowers. That's how it got its name, star jasmine. Has an incredible scent as well. It is about 6:30 here in Tucson, Arizona. The sun is beginning to set and it's a cool, breezy 85 degrees. As you look around the yard, I'm sure you're going to see tons of bird feeders, potted plants, and hummingbird feeders. My wife and I truly enjoy feeding the birds and collecting succulents and cacti. This hedge of bushes is called salvia. We planted them many years ago as well. When we planted them, we had 3 different colors: white, pink, and fuchsia. As you can see over the years, nature took its course and decided it was going to go all fuchsia. And it basically took over the white and pink. But there is one little plant left that I would expect will be gone in probably a year. That little white one down there. Please enjoy the birds singing in the background. Here's a whole bunch of pots that I was talking about that have cacti and succulents in them. We saved these from a lot that was being destroyed, and we're going to transplant them in the yard. Before I get to the grass, I do want to talk about the types of food that I feed our birds. I love to tell the joke that I spend more money on my birds than I do on my family. But I spend a lot of money on my birds. They get fed thistle, mixed seeds, suet blocks, fresh fruit, dried fruit, peanuts, 3 different kinds of sunflower, safflower, and many others. Let's see if we can get a nice close-up of the birds eating. All right. The next area I want to show everybody is my grass. There's a lot of controversy in Arizona about growing grass. And either you love it or hate it. Most people say, don't bother, it's too hard, too expensive, and it wastes a lot of water. Well, I'm telling you that if you have the time, the energy, and the money, it is well worth having a nice lawn. This is a 500 square foot lawn made out of Bermuda. It's been in the ground for 25 years. It is on irrigation 3 days a week. And I put a lot of effort trying to get it this way. Though again, of all days to record this, the lawn has a lot of brown spots or bare spots. I just mowed this lawn and I mowed it too low and I scalped some of the higher areas. It's not very level. My wife and I are from the East Coast and we had to have our little piece of grass. Our kids loved it, our animals love it, and we love it throughout the years. It really does not put a big tab on the water bill. As far as usage, the way I look at it, if I'm using water to keep something alive, it's well worth it. Whether it's my plants, my kids, my vegetable garden, or my grass. I mow this twice a week. I edge this twice a week. I put on pre and post emergence. I will put seed on it throughout the entire season as needed. I follow a gentleman on YouTube called How To with Doc. I want to give him a shout out. I've been following him for 5 years or more, and he really truly has an understanding of lawns, grass, and many other things. He recently moved and bought, I think it is a 40-acre farm. He's rebuilt houses. He's got videos on his lake. He's got videos on his lawn. He's got videos on his vegetable garden, etc., etc. I've been following him. I really like him, and I use the products he recommends from the Andersons and other areas. Some of the products I put on here are Dirt Booster, Green Shocker, Humic Acid, Biochar, and different kinds of bug sprays. Now, let's get over here to the last fruit tree. This is a full-grown Arizona sweet orange. It does produce quite a lot of fruit, but to be honest with you, it doesn't taste very good. So we pretty much give this to the birds. I'm going to turn here and show you this massive tree. This is a fruitless Swan Hill olive. It looks just like the original Swan Hill olive, but because of the high allergies that people have from the producing olives, the county decided to ban the olive tree, so they genetically altered it to make it fruitless. But we still get the benefits of a beautiful tree. As we come up, you can see there's quite a few more pots. Beautiful boulder. And that lonely little vine is a morning glory. I hope it makes it through its first hot summer. Listen to the birds. The large vine you see on the wall is a cross tangerine vine or a tangerine cross vine. It has been in the ground over 20 years. It does produce a lot of tangerine colored tubular flowers with a yellow middle that the hummingbirds love. Now, because the date is May 7th, our spring here in Arizona is pretty much done. So a lot of the blooms have been spent on a lot of the plants. I was hoping to get this video out sooner, but it didn't work. But I can come over here and show you the beautiful orange flowers. Let's get a nice close-up. There you go. There is a plant in a pot below me that has done really, really well. We had it in the ground and it didn't grow. We put it in a pot and it took off. Now, if you get a close-up of this, you can see the pretty flowers on it, and it does come in multiple colors. This is a verbena plant, or a verbena ground cover. Now, a lot of people get confused between verbena and lantana. So I did some research on it, and this is what I come up with. Now, again, anybody has the right to think differently, but this is what I think. Verbena is a smaller, lower ground cover with lighter leaves, lighter colored leaves, and lighter stalks and branches. As you can see, they're not very thick. And it's more like growing out of the pot, not up in a bush. Lantana plants are considered a ground cover as well, but they grow more of a mounding type or more to a bush or a shrub. They come in the same colors. But there's a big difference in the color of the leaf, the size of the branches and stalks. They're much thicker, heavier, and they kind of have a sharp feel to them. So while we're walking around the backyard, you'll see a nice watering area for the birds. I want everybody to know again that we do provide food, water, and shelter for the wildlife. Some more bird feeders, some more pots. We're coming up on the hummingbird butterfly garden, and I want everybody to know that I'm just going to name some of the plants in this garden, and the camera will not match what I'm saying on video. When I do my smaller videos, I will definitely explain the type of plant, how to prune, and all the information needed. But in this garden, we have Baja fairy dusters, we have barrage, we have the firecracker plant, we have yellow bells, but there are a lot in here. Majority of these plants have been in the ground for over 20 years. Occasionally we have to replace one. Then I top it off with a fresh bed of red mulch. Here in Arizona, everything is on irrigation. So everything in my yard goes off or gets water 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Not until it reaches about 105 to 115 is when I will supplement water with our reclaimed water tank on the weekends. The only thing that gets water every single day is my vegetable garden. Obviously, the water gets turned on more in the summertime and less in the wintertime. I do have 3 zones. I have a zone for trees and bushes, a zone for the grass, and a zone for the vegetable garden. The way I decide how much water goes to each plant is by the gallons per minute dripper that is attached. They go from anywhere from 1 gallon or even half a gallon to like 3 gallons a minute. Show you some beautiful flowers on these plants. These are the yellow bells. Here's some orange ones. Bright orange again. About 98% of the plants in this garden are to attract the hummingbirds, butterflies, and pollinators. And over here at the bottom, there's a purple one, kind of being hidden. We'll get up there close, and then we'll swing over here to these orange ones, and some orange ones over there. Now you'll notice there is a large space between the plants. The reason for that is every spring we cut these plants down to the bottom, probably a couple inches off the ground. This is about a month ago we pruned these, and this is all new growth. The majority of the plants in this yard that we use come from what we call new wood. New wood means that new growth comes from the root ball every year, as opposed to old wood, meaning new branches growing off existing old branches or old wood that's there. Because we cut these down to the ground, the new wood grows from the root ball. Show you a couple more aloes, potted plants, some rose bushes. We're gonna head over here to the raised patio. The border bushes are holly bushes. You'll notice there are a couple big ones and a couple little ones. As I said, gardening is a journey, not a destination. So we've had some plants die and have replaced, and others do really well. On that same note, these are our roses. They were doing great in March and part of April. Then they got a black spot mold, and they all died, or at least the leaves and stuff died. The plant itself is not dead, but I had to trim these and prune these down to practically nothing. Normally these are in full bloom. I've treated them and fertilized them, and hopefully they will come back. There's another bird feeder. I was just doing some research on a local channel, and they mentioned possibly putting honey to get the flowers to grow back. So maybe I'll do a water or liquefied honey solution and try that. Where we just saw the yellow bells, these are actually orange bells. They look the same except different colors. Again, these plants got cut down to about 2 inches off the ground. This is 1 month of growth. They'll grow to be about 15 feet tall, towering over this shed for the entire season. There were some of those baby hollies I was talking about. I forgot to mention this tree that we're walking under right now, and as you can see, it has an incredible canopy, and we'll get a better view on the other side. But this is a bonita ash. It does really well here in Arizona. It gets to be about 30 feet tall, 30 feet wide, with a root system about 30 feet wide. This year I was able to expand my gardening repertoire by going into sowing seeds and growing in fabric bags. I'd never done this before. It was very enjoyable. And I would have to say over 95% of what I planted germinated, and I could transplant into the garden or into bigger pots. This is my tower pot collection. I'm going to turn it around so I can read some of the labels. I've got nasturtiums in here, red colored amaranth. I have, what else in here? There's just so many you forget. Let's see what else we got. Tobacco plant, firewheel, and savanna grass, amongst others. This video is about 20 minutes long, which is exactly why I wanted to end it. Again, I want to mention my name is Mike. The channel is Cacti, Mountains, Flora, and Fauna. This is part 1 of a 3-part video of my back and front yards. Once I'm done with those, I will do videos on smaller topics. But I want everybody to understand I'm not doing this to be rich or famous or worried about the YouTube algorithms or to get free sponsorship or to get free products from gardening companies. I am just a 55-year-old man who's worked really hard in his garden over 30 years in the Southwest desert. I think that I've done really well. My plants are happy, healthy, and I want to share my suggestions and ideas with the world. So again, thank you very much for coming to this channel. If you want to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, go ahead. If you don't worry about it. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video.